Hi guys, it's thatlvivgirl. This video will be about state of fire departments in Ukraine and the readiness of Ukraine to handle mass fires. But before I start, I got this package, this heavy package from USA, and at the end we can open it together and we will see what's inside. It came from Virginia. Okay, so about fire department. Why I'm making this video is because of Chernobyl fires in neighboring areas around Chernobyl. It started April 4th and April 14th and April 15th they escalated, and it drew a lot of international attention. Also, there was a question if government can handle big fires in Ukraine, if government is reporting true situation. Pollution levels in Kyiv city were very high, and it also created mass alerts. So now, according to news, the fire is put out. We have this historical habit of burning fires, but right now the climate is changing. We're not getting enough water. The woods are very dry, and once it takes off, it's uncontrollable. In my neighborhood a few days ago, a person was burning old trash, and fire started and it burned a few sections of land. Thanks to God, it did not touch any houses. The neighbors got together and put it out quickly themselves, but the person was stressed out and she stayed at home for a few days. She did not walk outside. I had to do a project with fire department and burn center in 2006. It was a grant project financed by Western country. It was supported by Shriners Hospital. It was a burn prevention documentary about the danger of burns of children, because at that time there were a lot of fire hazards that caused life-devastating accidents for children. We had the team, the PR department, come to the hospital and film patient testimonies, film doctors, and provide their advice how to treat burns and how to respond to burn emergency. So that was nice. And later the surgeons told me that this documentary, 15-minute documentary, was aired on a local channel, and they said that the number of burn victims at that time decreased. I am just really glad about this project. My experience with firefighters and the state fire department of Lviv is really positive. Officially they are called State Emergency Service of Ukraine. They do civil defense, rescue, utilization of radioactive waste, insurance documentation. They protect the population and territory from any emergency situation. Also, the State Emergency Service directly manages the zone of alienation in Kyiv, which has to do with Chernobyl. In Ukrainian it's called МНС, Міністерство надзвичайних ситуацій. It was part of bigger civil defense network in USSR, and historically it was a military institution. It has undergone numerous reforms in 1996, 2003, 2005, 2010, 2012, 2014, so every four years it's changing, it's being reformed. For example, in 2012, Ministry of Emergencies was transformed into State Emergency Service. It was placed under the jurisdiction of Ministry of Defense. In 2014, the service was transferred to the Ministry of Internal Affairs of Ukraine. So what about the financing that it's getting? The Ministry of Defense of Ukraine for 2020, it's getting 117.5 million hryvnias, or $4.4 billion. In 2005 it became non-military agency and it focused on rescue. So again, industrial safety, Chernobyl, inspection of technogenic safety and fire prevention, rescue, aviation, insurance documentation. Also, state-run local volunteer services were formed now, but the reform is really slow and it's really lagging. There are a lot of complaints about it. Now the salary of fire employees, fire department employees, has been slowly rising, especially after the start of war. It's about $500 per month now, but again, it depends on the military rank of the person and what exactly service they are doing. Also, historically, they were checking businesses for fire safety, and this has led to corruption and stress, and some people argue that it has stalled the development of business and development of Ukrainian economy, because fire inspectors were looking for unofficial payments. This is what some people say. So basically they were checking for fire safety, but fire regulations was so large, so complex, it was difficult to comply with. Easiest way was to give bribes, and so this was very stressful, but it stopped during the war. So there's a huge problem of people trying to get advantage of the system, which is stalling the economic development. For example, a small business that has like 2 rooms, it was visited by, I think, a person that called himself a fire inspector, who said that they have a heater, which is a fire danger, and the owner or manager has to go to classes to be educated about how to handle this heater, like 2-week classes, and then he will get a license to be able to use this fire heater. Every business in Ukraine has heaters because we have cold weather in winter. And then he offered that he can handle it himself. They can use his name on the license and they can just pay him money. So that's how it works. The visit was a few years back after the war. What else fire department does? It does lectures for, as I said, for business owners, which is nice. Also they do CPR courses, but for their own staff. They constantly get lectures to improve their services, and a few weeks after the lecture, a fireman has saved a life using CPR that he has learned at the State Department. So also what they do is they are present at concerts, at any big public events. If there is a visit of Austrian president, for example, they are present along with police. And it's like strict military management. It's a tough control. You're working after hours. It's your tough luck, tough it out. But if you look at the salary, if you look at the management, it's kind of like unfair. So my argument that there are a lot of office politics, there's a play of egos, it's poorly managed, it's incredibly inefficient. It's like this big government structure that a businessman has to go and sacrifice its time and make them happy. These businessmen employ people, pay taxes, pay salaries, and they also have to find the time for these courses and to do all these inefficient bureaucratic procedures. And I really hope that the fire departments, that the structure itself will find a more efficient way to serve the public. And also I have a question: if the management of fire department, which is like military officers, if they have skills in HR management, do the bosses themselves know how to manage staff well? Also, I was told some people that work for the structure, they could not leave the state, they cannot leave the country, they need written permission of their boss, because they are like associated with the military, so they cannot go to the mountains for the weekend, they cannot go to the Black Sea, for example, to Odessa. So like they really need to be friends with the boss to give them this permission. So all of that coupled with the low salary, it's like very strange. But some good news is, besides salary going up, is that PR department, of course, is very nice, and I see the website is now in English. English is, I see, the high level, which is really nice. I'm happy. The PR is good because they constantly have to communicate with population about any crisis. They have to report and shoot the footage if they're like freezing, danger of freezing, high freezing temperatures. So if there's a danger of fire, they have to report it to the public, and they do it well. Since the fall of Soviet Union, our fire departments were cross-training with Western countries. For example, Canada. So this is a very bright, beneficial experience for them. But I can see there's a testimony of fireman from Alberta, Canada. He said that the hospital and clinics are crumbling, also fire departments, and some of the equipment that they use is back from the Soviet Union. So the conclusion, he said that they need mentorship, guidance, organizational guidance, and recruitment skills. They need to be trained in this. So regarding organizational guidance, how to organize themselves, it's the question to the government. Also, the hearts were broken to see the situation in Ukraine, and they organized a 20 million USD shipment from Alberta, Canada to Ukraine, full of hospital and fire supplies. This was first shipment, and this next shipment was dispatched actually on the 14th of April. Just as we were fighting the fires, the second really expensive shipment is now coming to Ukraine with help. Also England helped Ukrainian fire stations. The 12th of November of 2019, so a convoy of 3 fire rescue vehicles filled with equipment traveled to Ukraine, and also a team that trained our local firemen. Also, I would like to mention a British surgeon, Henry Marsh, who is revolutionizing and changing the face of Ukrainian neurosurgery. He's training Ukrainian neurosurgeons and sending equipment to Ukraine since 1991. There are movies done about him, and patients that were destined to die are now have chance to live, which is amazing. So for Western countries are really helping us, but it's nice if we could organize ourselves also and manage ourselves, because I believe that it's enough GDP to handle our own public systems, provided that money just are not mismanaged and they do not disappear somewhere at the top, leaving workers just was forced to do so many sacrifices. So I want to argue that we ourselves caused the fire department sector to be corrupt. So it looks like government cannot manage its assets as it keeps sort of reforming the department, and the names is changing, the funding is changing, but what is the result? How well the fire department is handling the crisis situations, and how much the employees suffering, because from my observation, firefighters do not complain, they silently handle the unfairness. But I noticed that Ukrainian firefighters do a good job with limited resources that they have, just like Ukrainian surgeons who are well known to do amazing things with very minimal resources. And also with fires at Chernobyl, we see that volunteers are now donating equipment to firefighters, which is really nice news. Also, I think that there are a lot of crises in Ukraine that force us to they shatter and question how we serve the public. During war, we realized how poor our military system is. We reorganized the military. Then during COVID-19, we now are faced with the fact that hospitals are misfunded and mismanaged. And with Chernobyl fires, we realized that our rescue departments are also suffering and they have low budget. So these shocks, I hope that they will cause us to change and update our public systems. I think there's a way to run it efficiently. And also you can, as I was doing my research, I found a fire truck that, it can be purchased for local fire station. Now, as I promised, we will open this package from USA, and I'm very excited to see what's inside. And I thank my student for sending it to me. I think I know, I can guess what's inside. Okay, very nice books. Sending you lots of love from Lviv. I hope you are well and healthy. Please subscribe, please share this video, and I will see you soon. Have a nice week. До побачення!